Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin, and I'm joined as ever by my Joshi partner in crime. It's Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, we are well and truly on the road to Dream Queendom now, and the excitement is ramping up, I think it's fair to say.
Rob, not only are we on the road to Dream Queendom, not only am I excited for what might be the best wrestling show of the year, before we get to Dream Queendom, Christmas time. Christmas is a week away today as we're recording. Rob Goodwin, I already got about an hour ago, I received my first Christmas gift. And I think this is a perfect time to start out the podcast where I would like to share with not only you, but all the fantastic listeners of the Stardom Cast. So again, this is a great, now not only audio podcast, we're a visual podcast. I think it's a great way to take advantage of the visual podcast. Now, before I show this fantastic gift I got, shout out to my friends over at the Encounter Comics and Games on Union Boulevard in the beautiful Allentown, Pennsylvania, because they're the ones that gifted me this great gift. And a big shout out to Pete, Derek, Brian, John, Oliver, and Keith, as about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they acquired a WWF set, a lot of WWF merchandise from the late 80s, early 90s. And you know, that's my jam, sir. That takes me back. A lot of action figures and a lot of merchandise. So I did see some of these figures that they acquired 2 or 3 weeks ago. Walked in there today to pick up my comics, and I go, oh my God, is that like from 89, 90? They're like, yes, it is. I'm like, wow, that's in really good condition. They're like, here you go, Matt. Merry Christmas. I said, are you sure? I was like, yes, Merry Christmas. So this is, and I believe maybe 90, 91. This is an official, damn near mint condition WWF Hulk Hogan Hulk Rules bandana. I think this is 90-91 when he was feuding with Earthquake after he dropped the belt to Warrior before he got the belt back from Slaughter. And it's in phenomenal condition. And again, it even says WWF on it. So we have to be careful. We do not get the emails from the World Wildlife Fund, so we might have to blur that out. Yeah, so we have to be careful. So shout out to all those guys again, especially Pete and Derek. Those guys are absolutely fantastic. And the best place, a quick plug for them, best place to get your comics is the Encounter Comics and Games, Union Boulevard, right off Airport Road, in the beautiful Allentown, Pennsylvania. So yeah, I got my first Christmas gift. So I was like, that was really cool. That was really cool. So again, it's in phenomenal condition. So it's like you can't beat that. And it's, the old school WWF stuff, which brings me back about 30 years, brother. But no, I'm doing great. How's everything your neck of the woods? And Rob Goodwin, again, I got a question for you. While we're a week away from Christmas, is there anything specific that you asked Santa Claus for this year? Is there anything that something that you really wanted this year, buddy?
Aside from the Hazuki white belt run, obviously the return of Fukigen Death, and good God did he deliver. So Christmas magic is alive and well. Yes, things are going tremendously well. But I actually have a question for you, Matt Turner, and that is, what are the current standings in the Christmas song battle three-way between yourself, Amber, and Lily? How are you faring this year, good sir?
I don't have the official standings, but just because of just how many marks I'm putting down on Amber's side, I'm pretty sure that if you combine me and Lily's score, Amber is still winning. So I believe Amber's in first. I don't know where me and Lily are with second and third, but we still have about a week's time. So yes, Amber is quite comfortably ahead. Again, there's 7 days to catch up. We shall see. Again, the rules are that 2 of us have to be in the car at all times. So this Friday coming up is I'll be picking Lily up, and I'll be spending the day with her as we're going to go to the movies and lunch, and then she'll be coming back home to us for on Saturdays our annual family Christmas party. So Friday and Saturday and Sunday will be a time for maybe me and her to make up some ground and take Amber off her post, my friend, because I think she's won 3 in a row, and with 7 days to go, she's comfortably in the lead to make it 4 in a row, horseman style, my man, 4 in a row. So again, we shall see. It might be a Mayu Iwatani comeback here, my friend.
Might need it. Sounds like something of a Goldberg streak starting in that household.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a bit of a weird episode today, simply because, yes, we have two Stardom shows to go through. The show from Takasaki on the 14th of December, the show from Saku on the 15th, both, which have dropped on Stardom World now, do video on demand. However, I believe they were both up the day after the shows. So great stuff, great turnaround from Stardom World. And I believe it was due to the Wi-Fi not being great is why the didn't stream live. I read somewhere, I can't remember where I read it, but that was what I read. But we've got that to talk about in terms of the news. We actually recorded the Marigold Standard yesterday and went through almost all of the news yesterday. So if you want to hear us talk about the news, then please, Marigold Standard, which dropped yesterday evening. We will talk a little bit about the Dream Queendom press conference because there were some fun things that happened during that. We've also got a very average main event between Mercedes Mone and Hazuki to talk about, which has gotten absolutely no plaudits online whatsoever and will be forgotten about instantly. And it certainly hasn't been lauded by Dave Meltzer as the greatest women's match on American soil, possibly ever. So can't wait for the discourse when that gets 4.25 stars on Friday. But yes, we've got lots of bits to talk about, but especially out of the two Stardom shows, nothing groundbreaking. So this may, and I do put an emphasis on may, Matt, because whenever I say it, it never happens and it always ends up being 3 hours. So obviously you can all see as you're listening to this how long the podcast goes. So either I'm right or I'm hilariously wrong yet again. But before we get into all of that, Matt, before we get into any of the news, before we talk about Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May, before we talk about New Japan Strong Style Evolved, what, dear sir, is coming up on our Patreon?
Our Patreon, folks, there hasn't been too much that came out these past handful of days just because myself and Rob getting ready for the holidays, trying to really finish our work schedules. We haven't been able to really record as much as we want or drop as much as we want. However, by the end of this week, there's going to be a lot in the can. So over the next 7 to 10 days, here's what you have coming, my friends. Here's what you have coming. So here we go. Again, good things come to those who wait. Alternate commentary, Shuri versus Julia from the 2022 World Climax show from night one. We have rivalry review, Mayu Iwatani versus Shuri. I did that with Andy Header. What if Shuri defeated Mayu at the beginning of this year to win the IWGP Women's Championship? I'll be doing that solo just because everybody that I asked with the holidays, it just couldn't get schedules to go. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do that one solo. So that should be in your feed over the next 7 to 10 days or so. Matches with Matt, which is Shuri versus Azumi. We watched that one, and that is the match from night one of the 2022 5-Star Grand Prix. There is Tag Team Breakdown with, once again, myself and Andy Header as we do a Tag Team Breakdown to the 30-minute classic of the generational struggle match that's pitched Shuri, obviously it's a Merry Shuri Christmas, teaming with Mayu, teaming with Julia, teaming with Tam to take on the team of Suzu Suzuki, Maika, Utami Hayashishita, and Saya Kamatani back from the summer of last year in Corkin Hall. And then once again, I'll be joined by my good friend and tag partner, Andy Header, as we count down our top 5 favorite Shuri matches of all time. So again, apologies, folks, that there wasn't too much in the Patreon feed these last few days, but there's already some in the can. We're recording a couple things this week, but over the next 7 to 10 days, you will have so much Shuri stuff that you'll be kicking your Christmas tree as if it's not Natsupoi. So, there's going to be a lot of really great stuff. And thanks to all of our Patreon members. As I checked this morning, we finally cracked 100 Patreon members. So we greatly appreciate that. That's just absolutely amazing. Some of these numbers we see on a daily basis blows us away. And right before we hit the record button, I was looking at my phone, just tracking some numbers. Rob Gooden, we are the number 6 wrestling podcast in India. So thank you to our listeners over in India. So we greatly appreciate that. I know it's like a 22-hour flight. So
yeah, thank you to everyone that is listening over in the subcontinent. I had no idea. And you randomly come out with these random things, like with the number 7 in Germany or something like that.
Yeah, we were the number 2 wrestling podcast in Germany for like 2 or 3 weeks last month. I just checked. I think we dropped to like 16, but still we're number 7 in the United States. So yes, we're battling. Keep going back and forth with us, one of Jim Cornette's, and Busted Open. So good company to be in, my friend. Good company to be in. So and we're doing pretty well in England, and that might be thanks to you there, good sir, with your fancy hairdo, because you might have beat me once again in the hairdo scheme.
Well, I do try. I've got to have one thing on you, haven't I? Let's be honest, because it's not charisma, personality, or humor, so or wrestling knowledge.
Positivity.
Oh yeah, true. Positivity. You have got positivity on me as well. Say that again. Sorry.
Better body.
Better. Oh god, yeah, that's not hard, is this? A lot like I've been carved out of teddy bear ham. Come on.
Carved out of teddy bear ham. That's gonna be the next Stardom Cast T-shirt.
Oh,
it's gonna be Koguma like this with Suzu with like a serrated light tube. But it's gonna be me dressed up as Suzu and you as Koguma.
There you go. Anyone good with a pen? Make sure you get that done. No, but thank you to everyone for your fantastic support throughout this calendar year, and obviously we hope to continue, and we hope you'll be along for the ride with us. So yeah, thank you to everyone. And again, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast. Loads and loads and loads of bonus content up there, as well as all of these episodes early and ad-free for as little as $1 a month. So definitely worth going and checking that out. So Matt, it's time to get into the news. And as I said before, we did cover a lot of this on the Marigold Standard. Obviously, if you don't follow Marigold, you won't know. But the one thing I want to touch on again is the Stardom press conference, which aired on the 17th of December, so yesterday, as we record, where we got another match added to the Dream Queendom card and 2 stipulations added to matches as well. So as we already know, Tam Nakano versus Saya Kamatani for the red belt. Natsupoi versus Starlight Kid for the white belt. Micah will be taking on Natsukatora. That match was made no DQ. We saw a little bit elevating that in the matches at Takasaki and Saku, which we're going to be talking about, as well as at the press conference where Micah ended up being body slammed through a table by Tora. Konami and Syuri has been made a submission or knockout match. And this is something we didn't quite touch on, but Syuri's promo at Konami, not to Konami, at Konami, was chilling the way she delivered it. So that was really cool. Obviously, the Goddesses of Stardom Championships match, Hate Supreme, Takara and Momo Watanabe versus Wingori. That's been made official. And then, of course, we have got Mika Iwata versus Saori Ano. That is the 4th match in their rivalry of 2024. Obviously, they feuded from the the Wonder of Stardom Championship, the Sendai Girls World Championship. This is for all the marbles, shall we say, in regards to their feud. No titles, but all about pride. So if they are able to encapsulate what they have been able to over the previous 3 matches that they've had, then I'm very, very, very excited. But yeah, a bit of an unhinged press conference. Tam Nakano ended up with cake on her face, which Saya Kamatani then licked off. Saya Kamatani got blitzed on the head with a champagne bottle. Momo Watanabe looked like an absolute badass, carrying both the tag belts. Konami and Syuri had a face-off. Micah was beating Natsukatora with a big fan. Tora was beating Micah with the pipe. Micah ended up through a table. And then just on top of all that, Starlight Kid came to the press conference with the Spark Joshi Championship, of course, the belt that she won back in Philadelphia WrestleMania week last year, and has vacated it in order to focus on the Wonder of Stardom Championship. So that's vacant as well, which was great timing, because just as that happened, CB, the owner of Spark Joshi, tweeted out that there will be a show during WrestleMania week in Vegas. So I'm sure we'll find out very, very soon what's going to be happening to the Spark Joshi World Championship. It's a shame that Starlight Kid isn't going to be holding that belt, but does it give us some foreshadowing as to what is going to happen with that white belt? Matt, a typically chaotic press conference, but full of nice things.
Rob, I'm just thinking about this as I'm sitting here. Last time there was a Stardom wrestler that vacated a belt to go to another belt, that didn't wind up so well. Consider I'm talking about Mayu Iwatani vacating the SWA championship to go for the IWGP. Obviously, she's the champion now and doing great things with it, but it was to focus on winning the tournament, which she did lose the tournament final back 2 years ago to Kyrie in an absolute must-see instant classic match. So obviously, Starlight Kid, her big mentor is Mayu. Will she be following in the footsteps of Mayu Iwatani by vacating one championship to be unsuccessful for the other? But the fact that she's vacating it and use that as saying, hey, I want to put all my focus into this, makes you think which way it's going to go. Because before that press conference, I was like 70% sure Natsupoi was retaining. Now I'm not so sure. Now I'm more 50-50. In the main event as well, I'm still kind of 50-50. But no, a chaotic press conference. I did think we were going to get the rest of the card. Obviously, we just got one more matches with some great stipulations added on. As you mentioned, Tor and Mike and no DQ, which I'm all for. Konami and Shiri, we know that we were going to get a stipulation one way or another, and this is one of the best ways to do it. You're basically almost getting a MMA style match between the two, very similar to what we saw at All-Star Grand Queendom last year with Shiri and Chihiro Hashimoto, and that was great. And I'm assuming this is going to be great. This is going to be, I mean, right, we got 6 matches in. We still don't know what's going on with Azumi, Mayu, obviously FWC, and Hazuki is the talk of the town, not only in Stardom, but over here in the United States for what she did in that match that we're going to talk about shortly. So there's a lot of momentum going in to Stardom into the show. And again, we always say wrestling's subjective. You can like what you like. There's no wrong answer to certain things, but the numbers don't lie. And we made mention about 2 weeks ago, 13 of the 14 sections in Sumo Hall are sold out. I was just checking this morning. There's actually 15 sections now, and there's 11 out of the 15 that are sold out. So my guess is, and I could be wrong, is they added more seats to those sections. So not unless for some reason they had tickets returned, which wouldn't make sense if you have that much, but it looks like they added more seats. And right now they sold out 11 out of 15 I think that's right. 11 out of 15 sections. And I texted you the other day because on my watch list of matches I've yet to watch this year, one of them was the G1 final between Zack Sabre Jr. and Yota Tsuji. I didn't get a chance to get to that. And it was in Sumo Hall. And I just kind of Googled how many people were at that show. And there's a little over 8,000. So again, we know the Stardom number is like 38. The real Stardom number is 3,800 from the second Dream Queendom. So we're all figuring if they get close to that number, that'd be good. And then about 2 weeks ago, we're like, we think they're at 4,000. And again, I could be wrong because I don't know how the building scaled. But if they added another section and that it looks like they're adding more seats. And again, I could be wrong, but it looks like they're adding more seats. This one could be well over the 4,000 mark. It really, really can. And I really hope that they get that because I know from the Yuzuki Ayakawa match they had something like 65,000. Was that the inflated number?
5,500, not 65,000.
I know that was my joke. That was my joke. Yeah, I know Sumo Hall doesn't sit that much, but yeah, again, and we're 2 weeks away from that show, and we're kind of wondering how the rest of these matches are going to pan out. We're assuming there's going to be multi-tag matches. We don't think Mayu and Azumi is going to have big singles matches because they have the big single match in the Tokyo Dome. So you have 6 great that are going to be, surefire great matches. What are these multi-person matches going to look like? And Stardom does multi-person matches great. They never have throwaway matches. Like, what's Mina doing? Like we still don't know with that. So it's going to be interesting, especially with these 3 shows this weekend where they're having their mini tournament where the winner is going to go into the Tokyo Dome in that 4-way. So they may be waiting for that. They may be waiting for the winner because there's 16 wrestlers in that tournament. So they might be waiting to see who's the one that's going to it. And then my guess is probably come Monday, the rest of the card will be announced. But regardless, I'm excited, man, because every single one of these Dream Queendom cards since 2021 have not only delivered, but over-delivered. And this has the potential to not only be the best one as far as match quality goes, but maybe even the biggest one as far as attendance goes. So I'm real excited to see if they hit that 4,000 mark. I think that they're going to do it. I really, really do. There's a lot of buzz going into Stardom, especially coming off the 5-star, coming off the tag league, and going into this the Dream Queendom. And the fact they have Mina over in AEW doing great numbers doesn't hurt. And the fact they had Hazuki have one of the best matches, women's matches in American soil, per Big Dave, doesn't hurt at all. There's a lot of buzz on Hazuki, a lot of buzz on Mina, and we don't know what they're doing at the big show at the end of the year. But yeah, I'm excited, my friend. This is going to be a surefire must-see card.
So yeah, a couple of interesting things. Obviously, at the moment, Stardom's biggest sole promoted show attendance remains that 2023 All Star Grand Queendom in Yokohama Arena. That was 5,539 people. Do I think they'll get to that number? I'd be very surprised. I'd be pleasantly surprised, but shoot for the stars. I do think, and I'm going to put this out there, obviously the biggest attendance so far this year is 3,547, and that was the co-promoted show with New Japan Historic Crossover from 17th of November. I think they beat that. I think they outdraw that. I think this is the hottest that Stardom have been in at least 12 months, maybe longer. When you look at, you hit the nail on the head. You said the last 3 Dream Queendoms have been tremendous shows, some of which have over-delivered. I think 21 and 22 were really good shows, with solid cards. I think 2023, we had a few issues with injuries and people being out, and it was, on the face of it, perceived as a little bit of a weaker card. And then actually, once the show started, we got absolutely that is a show that over delivered for me, because Maika and Suzuki, tremendous. Mirai and Soriano, tremendous. Julie versus Megan Bain, really, really, really good match. So a show that over delivered. I would be amazed if this show, I think it'll get to 4,000. Because we
may even be there. They might even be there, buddy, with the tickets. Again, we don't know, but they might already even be there with the tickets, and looks like what they're adding, which is just insane. And just real quick, I apologize for interrupting you. Actually, as far as these 3 Dream Queendoms, 21, 22, 23, as far as top to bottom cards, last year's card was my favorite. I didn't think there was a bad where you have the first Dream Queendom. It was a great solid card, but what it's going to be remembered for is that 1-2 punch with Kamatani and Tam for the white belt, and then Shuri versus Utami for the red belt. 2022, another solid card. It's going to be remembered for one of the greatest wrestling matches ever, with Shuri versus Julia. 2023, you're at 100% right. I 100% agree with you. We're kind of like, what's this going to look like? We have a vacated title. Mirai has been the champion only for a couple months. She had that time limit draw with Soriano on the pay-per-view before. But as far as a card from start to finish, if you remember, this was Mayu's return match with, I think, a broken finger. And they went on and put on, I think it was Stars versus Oedo Tai. They went on and put on like the greatest 8-person tag match like ever, like out of nowhere. And you mentioned those 3 matches. Don't forget Aphrodite versus Tora and Momo Watanabe was like one of the best tag matches of the year as well on that card. So you had those 4, you had a really solid show and those 4 great matches to end the show. So like 2023, as much as like we weren't sure of the booking, you can't put to bed how great the talent was back in 2023 and still is. So the 2023 show is actually my favorite show as far as the Dream Queendoms go from start to finish. And this one looks like it could actually blow it away out of the water, which is insane.
It really is. You're absolutely right. It really is. It's quite scary, the potential of this show. And again, a lot of this was done on the back of potentially Saya Kamatani and Tam Nakano, because again, I'm very much of the opinion that it's not official until we get a match graphic. Even if it is being advertised and all the promo material. But even so, even off the back of one match, I think it's tremendous that we get to that. Just sort of carrying on with the press conference, we also had matches announced for the New Year Christmas night, which is the Christmas Eve Korakuen Hall show for Stardom, the last Korakuen Hall show for Stardom in 2024. Future of Stardom Championship match, Miyu Amasaki defending the belt for the first time against Sayaka Kurore. High Speed Championship, Mei Seira defending against Momo Kohgo, which, Matt, as I mentioned on the Marigold Standard, it seems we have wished into reality with our predictions video, which came out on Sunday. New Blood 17 takes place on Boxing Day, so we've got a lot of Stardom over Christmas, which is just the way we like it. And we've got the New Blood Tag Team Championships. Devil Princess, Rina and Azusa in Naba making their 3rd defense of the New Blood Tag Team titles. They will be taking on Rice or Bread, Waka and HANAKO for the 2nd time. I believe I mentioned this on the Marigold Stand. I'm going to repeat it here. I do think that the only reason you would run this match back again is because Waka and HANAKO are taking the belts. Because it was literally so Rina and Azusa Inaba, their first title defense was Rice or Bread. Then it was Rana Yugami, and Lady C. And now it's Rice or Bread again. I feel like the only reason you would do that match again is because they take the belts. It just makes booking sense for me. I don't really understand what the point of having HANAKO and Waka lose 2 title matches out of 3 in one reign.
Yeah, partner, you got a really, really good idea there. And I mean, who knows? There's a possibility Azusa and Rina do take the win, but I would like to see a title change for 2 main reasons. One, we belt up Waka, which is one of my predictions for 2025. We belt up Waka. And 2, let's move Rina. And even though they've had a brief run as the New Blood Tag Team Champions, we saw how great they can be, and they are in the Goddess of Stardom tournament. Let's move them to the main tag division in Stardom. And again, I mentioned this on the Marigold Standard, and I'm just going to mention here it again. If Wingori win the belts on the 29th, which I think that they're going to, and as well as they should, that I think that's going to be a great match sometime in the first half of 2025, is where you do Azusa and Rina versus Hanan and Saida for the Goddess of Stardom Championships, whether it's on a pay-per-view or whether that it's going to be on a Cork and Hall show. I think that's a really great way to kind of kick off their championship run if that's the way they go. So it's a possibility that they do retain, but I'm with you there on that one. I think that we're going to see a title change. And again, what a great after Christmas present for one Waka, who's really been busting her butt, I guess, for lack of a better term, my friend.
Yeah, and obviously, we saw that Rina and Azusa Inaba were going to be they have a rightful challenge. They defeated the champions during the tag league in that great match with Hate Supreme. Just as we see Matt Turner apparently becoming Jesus.
It looks like it's really bright because we're actually doing this in the afternoon, but it looks like I'm gonna have to turn my light on. So again, it is. We're a week away from the birth of Christ. By no means am I JC himself. Hold on one second.
The Matt Turner cometh. But yes, so I imagine that's where we're going with that. HANAKO, obviously, huge push in the tag league with being Micah's partner. She got some key pinfalls. She got the most pinfalls out of the entire tag league. So it would make sense after that giant push for HANAKO to then give her a belt to end the year as well. Moving on, then, there are lots of bits to talk about in regards to New Japan. We might as well just delve right on in there. Obviously, New Japan ran their Strong Style Evolved show from the Walter Pyramid in Long Beach, not Long Island, other side of the country, Long Beach, California, on the 9th of, the 5th. Oh my God, I keep saying the 9th, the 15th of December. 2,435 people in attendance in the Walter Pyramid. Now, of the times that New Japan have ran the Walter Pyramid, this is actually the lowest attendance. The previous show that they ran, which, if you remember last year, was when Mercedes Mone broke her foot in the main event against Willow Nightingale. That drew 3,007. And that was main evented, as I mentioned, by Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Mone. You also had Will Ospreay versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. I think on this show, with a perceived, no disrespect at all, but a lack of star power, I think, in regards to this show, I still think that's a relatively good number. And I know that they were panicking somewhat over ticket sales. I believe when we spoke about it the week or either 2 weeks or the week before, they'd only sold 900 tickets or something like that. So to get to 2,400 is certainly an achievement. Obviously, we're going to be focusing on 2 matches in particular. In the opener, Mina Shirakawa defeated Johnny Robbie in 7 minutes and 40 seconds. And then in the main event, Mercedes Mone and Hazuki, New Japan Strong Women's title, Mercedes Mone retaining against Hazuki in 26 minutes and 36 seconds. We'll start with Mina and Johnny Robbie first. Which, it was a good match. I don't think it was anything more than that, but then again, I don't think it needed to be anything more than that. You needed Mina Shirakawa to get the win. You needed to showcase Mina Shirakawa because of what happened post main event. But other than that, it was a solid outing, Matt. But it's certainly not one I'd be screaming from the rooftops that you have to go and search out.
No, I mean, I have seen very little Johnny Robbie, and I was very impressed with her. I thought she was excellent. She's another one. If she's a part of this New Japan family, strong family, I would love to see her on a tour of Stardom, whether it's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. I thought she was great with Mina. Mina's obviously the star in this match. Obviously, we kind of knew what was happening. Mina's going to get the win, and we're going to build her up to a big championship match, which, again, we're going to get into in a minute. But Mina did a good job putting over Johnny Robbie. I thought Johnny Robbie was great. I do like how Mina, because this was the first match of the main show, Mina's music hit first, which is everybody knows what it is because of her AEW exposure. And as soon as her music hit, she got a really, really great ovation. Really great ovation. And after the match, I had 3.5 stars. Again, a solid outing. I was very impressed by Johnny Robbie. Again, I would love to see her over in Stardom on again on a 1 month or 2 month tour. The one thing, and I'll mention it with Mercedes Mone, that I'm absolutely tugs at my heartstrings because Mina's leaving and she's signing autographs and taking pictures as she's leaving. And I like that. I thought that was something really cool, really endearing with the fans. And we saw, again, we'll talk about it with Mercedes in this match, but even with Mercedes' match with Momo Watanabe just a couple months ago, I believe I think there was the show in the Boston area, that it's the same thing. She was in the main event, got the big win. She's a heel on AEW TV, but these New Japan shows, seems like when she's wrestling the Joshi, she's the big baby face because she's able to have that Stardom style, that Japanese style match that really, really, it basically focuses and it helps her style out because she does really work that Joshi style really, really well. And like I said, with the Momo match after the show was over, she literally took pictures with everybody in the front row, which I thought was really, really cool. Something that she doesn't have to do, and obviously you did it here with this match with Hazuki. But I guess oh, is there anything else you want to say? Speaking of this match with Hazuki, partner.
Mate, you go for it. You go for it. Because what can we say that hasn't been said by people online already? I mean, what a main event.
This match obviously took place on a Sunday. Partner, I do not need to tell you how long and exhausting my Sundays are. I'm not complaining. No. It just needs to get done. All this stuff just needs to get done. So again, my Sundays are I work at a side job that I had all throughout high school and college, about an hour away from where I live now. So after I got done with said job, I had it's supposed to be an hour drive. Well, it turned into an hour and 40 because I had to drive through a snowstorm. And I did make mention to my wife that Hazuki versus Mercedes is the main event of this show. She's like, "You're going to watch it Monday." I said, "No, I want to watch it live because I got a feeling this one is going to be one that's going to put Hazuki on the map and a match that Mercedes absolutely wants to have to stake her claim as arguably the greatest in-ring women's performer in the United States." And it's an argument. It's a clear argument that she may have a foothold in after this match. But came home, got ready to go, put the show on. I knew it was going to be on the main event. I know these New Japan Strong shows are like 8-9 matches deep. I'm sitting on my couch. I'm on the small couch. Amber's on the big couch. And got my iPad on my lap, and I fell asleep, which is what I was afraid was going to happen. That's how I missed the four-way that Hazuki qualified for. I woke up, and there was Hazuki's with her hand raised, and I was like, okay, well, I got the result I wanted. And my wife, being the smartest person in the room, she understood how important it was for me to watch this match live. She's like, she woke me up at the end of the tag match. I saw the Young Bucks on my screen. I was like, oh, that's a welcome surprise. So she's like, you're going to fall asleep during this match. I said, I don't think so because I'm really amped up for this. And I'm really glad that I didn't. I'm really glad that I didn't because first Hazuki comes out, great reaction. Before Mercedes even comes out, they're chanting CEO. Mm-hmm. She's crazy over with the crowd. Again, Hazuki got a decent reaction, but nothing to what Mercedes got. And then about 10 minutes in, if that, the crowd flips, but it's like 50-50. Like Suzuki's crazy over. And the one little thing in the back of my mind that I was a little bit worried about, like what happened in the Momo Watanabe match. And the Mercedes Momo match was good. I had it at 4 stars, but they have a better match in them. And if you go back and watch it, the first 5 or 6 minutes of the match, I think Momo's afraid to rough up Mercedes. And you could tell, you could see Mercedes is like, no, hit me. Because no one's used to that style, right? Mercedes is like, no, hit me. And then it gets to that next level, but it almost might have been a little bit too late. And I would love to see them run that match back, having Momo knows like, oh, I can hit her. So I'm like, I hope that doesn't happen here because we know Hazuki can bring it. And as soon as they lock up, And I love me a good lockup. I'm like, ooh, that might be the lockup of the year. And they do it twice. I'm like, there's no hold. There's no holding back here. This is a proper like Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody lockup. I mean, they really get into it. I'm like, oh, there's no holding back here. We get the great Mercedes Lucha style offense. We get Hazuki bumping and feeding to some really great strikes back and forth, like almost like a 50-50 match. They do a great job slowing things down. It's almost like the Stardom style meets the American style, where it's just like, it's not like boom, 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 boom. They slow things down to elicit a reaction. And you said that there's 2,400 people in this building?
Yeah.
So obviously this is the biggest crowd that Hazuki's ever main evented in front of. So it's like you can kind of tell she was taking it all in, and you could tell Mercedes was leading the match at certain points when it was like, okay, bump, slow it down to get a reaction. And they got it. Bump, slow it down, get a reaction. Do this, get a reaction. Great forearm exchanges. There was Hazuki goes for the boot scrape. Mercedes stops it. They build to it. It's coming. It's coming, and it comes the second time. And it was really great that they teased it, because Hazuki, she'll get her opponent on the ropes and she'll do the clap to get the crowd behind. And she does it the first time. And it gets an okay reaction. But when it does the second time, the crowd is more about Hazuki now. So when she does it, she gets the bigger reaction. She hits the boot scrape. Her Mercedes go back and forth. Hazuki hits that insane DDT that Mercedes spikes herself on the apron. She goes to the outside. Hazuki doesn't hit one, not two, but three perfect suicide dives.
Best ones she has ever done.
Back to back to back. Absolutely right. Not only that, but maybe go back and watch that boot scrape. The boot scrape might have been the best she's ever done, which is saying something, folks, because she does that just as good as Kachihori Shibata. Really great stuff back and forth. There was one spot that got a little messed up, and I'm glad it did in the best way, because we've seen Mercedes do this, and we know Hazuki's out to do crazy stuff. Mercedes does a sunset flip when Hazuki's head is supposed to hit the turnbuckle. I don't like that spot, because I think it was like 2 years ago, Shinjiro Otani took the German into the buckle, and I think he's paralyzed or something like that, because it's a blind bump into the buckle. And folks, I would be the first one to say I have taken that German into the turnbuckle at least 24 times in my career. I'll never do it again. Last time I took it
sucks, doesn't it?
Well, not only that, but you're bump. You don't know where you're bumping. You're taking a German, and and at least with the Japanese rings, they have the flat buckle.
Yeah,
With the American, it's just you know what I mean, right?
So yeah, the three pads.
Yeah, the three pads. So especially when I'm in a big singles match, I'm like, yeah, I'll take that bump. It's like to end my comeback, to start building up. Last time I took it was about 3 years ago. Me and my partner mistimed it, and I wound up in between the second and third rope. And because because I wasn't crazy enough, then I called for an audible to do it for me to take a pile driver on the apron, because why not, right? But anywho, so yes,
lunatic.
Another story for another day. But Hazuki's head did not hit the buckle. I don't know if that was by design or not, but I'm glad it didn't, because again, we don't want anybody. It's a whiplash move. But however, Hazuki's then in the turnbuckle. Mercedes slingshots herself in with the Meteor. There were so many great Meteors, or as we call them, Stardom, the Samatos. She does them so well. Just great stuff back and forth. Then Hazuki starts building her comeback. Eventually, we get Hazuki mode. Mercedes, very much like she did in that three-way with Azumi back 2 years ago, she pokes the bear, or the friend of the bear, as I'll say, and she gets full Hazuki mode, but Mercedes pops back up and decides, no, I want more. So then they have a slap exchange, which of course Hazuki wins, because it's Hazuki. So
it's Hazuki, absolutely.
So really, really good stuff there. There's one point where Hazuki hits that pump kick, and we've seen Hazuki hit it before. Majority of her opponents just take a big bump, but Mercedes hits it, and she sells it properly, like a boxer that's out on her feet. She hits the ropes, spins herself around, and then she sells herself into the turnbuckle. We see Hazuki hit the code breaker from the turnbuckle, and then she hits the diving code breaker off the second rope back from that. I thought that was really terrific. The two of them have a top rope fight, which then Hazuki properly pulls Mercedes' hair back, and you can see Mercedes is like, wait, because usually boom, boom, but you see, and we're waiting, and the crowd gets to right about here. And again, Mercedes, just knowing how American crowds work, just waits, because you know what's going to happen. And then she hits the headbutt, but it was a nice, like, you're waiting here for it to happen. And it's like, oh, and then she hits the superplex. Excellent stuff there. It's a great back and forth stuff. Mercedes has to empty the tank. She's hitting everything. They do a great job in the beginning too, exchanging cross faces back and forth. I thought that was really good submission stuff back and forth between the two. Mercedes eventually does hit the moneymaker, and Hazuki gets her foot on the rope. And
it's the Oh my God.
It's the biggest reaction of the entire match. Now, again, I didn't see the whole show. I just saw bits and pieces of it. But we're about 3 hours into this show, 9 matches on a Sunday night. I don't know who's got to go to work the next day. I know I do. This thing ended up at midnight, and I got up at 4:15 to go to the gym because I'm a maniac. But regardless, I didn't care. I wanted to see this match. So now keep in mind, too, about halfway through this match, and again, Amber's watching. I have it on my iPad. She passes out because I'm literally yelling swear words, but like in the best way possible. And I look over and she's out. But anywho, so yeah, so she kicks out of the moneymaker. We mentioned this during the semifinal in the tag league when Hanan kicks out of the super kick into the Potter ring from Soriano, and gets the pop, and then it's Soriano's reaction from the facial, and Mercedes throws a fit. She throws a fit, and the reaction goes from here to here with doing nothing. And I will give so much credit to Walker Stewart. He's a phenomenal. And Veda Scott was terrific as well. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
It's a phenomenal announcer. And I haven't seen every single one of his calls in New Japan, but I've seen all the big matches. This was his best call for a lot of reasons. And if you go back and watch, especially with the English commentary, because I think I texted you, I said, you need to watch this with the English commentary like I already watched it. When Hazuki puts her foot on the rope, you get that pop, you get the great call from Walker. You can see Walker in the top left-hand corner of your screen literally stand up, go, as I hit in my microphone, go, he goes, I don't know. And he just added to it. And he was the whole match. And again, so is Veda. He's like, he added to it. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. I can't do this anymore.
I can't do this. That was
and
the
I'm
one,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. And Mercedes, she puts the foot on the rope, gets the pop. She crawls into the middle of the ring because that's where you're going to see everybody. And again, she's the big star, not only of this match, but of this show. And she's just like, and she's getting Hazuki over more just because of what Hazuki did in the entire match. And Mercedes selling, having Hazuki put her foot on the rope, and she's getting Hazuki over more. And Hazuki's laying there with her foot on the rope. That's just the genius of the psychology of this buildup of this match. She goes for the moneymaker again, sunset flip into the Hazuki straw, which is how she qualified for this match. And again, I watched this match 3 times in 2 days. That's how much I absolutely loved it. Hits the Hazuki straw. Watch the people in the first 3 rows. They stand up because they think we're seeing a title change. And I didn't think we were going to see a title change, but I was like, they got me here. 1, 2, great job by the referee. I think that was the same referee that was doing the photos at our meet and greet for the at WrestleCon. I think it was the same referee that was taken. But anywho, great job. 1-2.999. Everyone thought that was the finish. Everyone was popping. Then Hazuki goes to the pump kick again, and what a great finish. Catches, turns her around, moneymaker, and you get the 1, 2, 3, boom. And that's what you want for a finish. 5 stars. Maybe the best American match with females match that I've seen this year. As far as all time goes, like Meltzer said, I would really have to seriously think about it. I probably like it a little bit better than Io and Bayley from WrestleMania, but this was great. And the fact that Mercedes doesn't really wrestle 27 minutes. Hazuki and Stardom, there's very few times that they go that length. The fact they went 27 minutes, the last match, an over 3-hour show. The crowd was molten hot for the entire thing. They took everybody on the roller coaster ride. This was wrestling perfection at its finest. And I had a few people tweet me that night and the next morning that a majority of the people absolutely loved. I mean, everybody loved the match. I had a few of our fans were just that they're like me and you, diehard Hazuki fans. They're like, I'm so upset Hazuki lost. Now, I will say this, folks. Hazuki was the one looking at the lights. She didn't lose. No, Hazuki did not. Her stock went up so much, Rob. So much. This was absolutely fantastic. So I'm super excited to see Hazuki winning the white belt. It's got to be, again, nothing's for sure in pro wrestling or in life, really. Nothing's for sure. But this has got to be one of the shoo-ins for 2025. She's got to win that white belt. Now, here's the thing, Rob. She's insanely over in America. Selfish reasons. Does it happen at the show that they're probably doing in Las Vegas? Does it happen?
Oh my God.
I think you either do it there or you do it as we talked about in our prediction show. You do it at Dream Queendom. Because I don't think you wait, or you wait till May when they usually do the show in Fukuoka. Usually in May. Yeah. I think if you wait any time after that, I think the bloom's going to be off the rose. I think that we got Hazuki as hot as she is again. I think if you wait any longer than either the American show, because again, everybody's asking about her, everybody's talking about her here in the United States. You know, it's going to be a raucous crowd in Las Vegas. Again, that's if they do a show, which it looks like that they're going to. Do you do it at Dream Queendom because that's your big show in the summer, or you do it the next month in her hometown because we saw, you know, the big pop her and Koguma got when they defeated Crazy Star. So I think if you wait any longer, I think it may pull it down a little. But I mean, geez, I mean, what a star Hazuki is. What a star, brother. Whew, I'm blowing up just talking about that. Again, the fact they went 27 minutes, considering the fact that those two wrestlers really don't wrestle that a lot of time. I'm a huge fan of Mercedes in this New Japan, doing these shows on the States, these strong shows. I think every time she defends the belt on these New Japan strong shows, it's got to be against a Stardom wrestler. The Momo match was great. The Suzuki match was great. Whoever loses the Wonder match, put that match in Long Island for Battle in the Valley, or not Long Island, and over in California for Battle in the Valley. Who wouldn't want to see Mercedes versus either Starlight Kid or Not Support? Mercedes versus Soriano. They can, just the aura of them in the ring with each other. But if they do these New Japan strong shows every 6 to 8 weeks and there's going to be a strong championship match, have Mercedes the forever champion and let her wrestle this style of match and let it go past 20 minutes. Everybody in that roster, you want to see Mercedes wrestle. You know, if Micah doesn't get not the red belt champion, do Micah and Mercedes. It's literally endless what you can do. And what's this doing for Stardom and the Stardom wrestlers? Their stock is going up like that in one match. So again, it's a win-win situation for everybody. And the fact we can talk about these matches in glowing terms. And Mercedes is in an absolute roll. She had a great match with Chris Statlander at the last pay-per-view. This match, maybe one of her best, if not her best in-ring match, maybe ever. Again, it's debatable. And then she's wrestling a white hot Anna Jay tonight. So and I got the beer I got the holiday beer in the fridge, my friend. I'm excited for it. So she's on an absolute roll. Again, a wrestling subjective. You can like what you like, but I know there's a lot of diehard Mercedes fans and a lot of diehard Mercedes haters out there. If you hated her performance here, I other than a hug, I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you. Again, buddy of mine at the comic book store was like, man, I watched that match. That Hazuki is really good. She carried the match. And I was like, you realize when you have a match this good, both those people have to be on the same page. But Mercedes was phenomenal here. Her selling, the way she put Hazuki over, the way she sold her facials, her frustrations, the way she basically was like, no, Hazuki, go ahead and beat me up. I'll take slaps. I'll take forearms. I'll take a shoot headbutt off the top rope. You got to give her her credit. You got to give her credit. You got to give both these wrestlers credit. I mean, both these wrestlers were phenomenal. And again, I know we're diehard Hazuki fans. She didn't lose here, folks. She did not lose. That's like saying Austin lost at WrestleMania 13. No, because what we're going to get in Hazuki in 2025, she's got to be getting that white belt partner. I mean, this is, I don't know more I can say, my man. I'm going to tag you in. Are you in the same vote? Are you here 5 stars? Are you going to give it the 3 3/4, like as per usual?
Yeah, the gentleman's 3. I mean, Hazuki did put a tweet out almost immediately afterwards saying she wasn't done grabbing that American dream. And as that's what the Stardom series in America is called, I imagine there'd be a mutiny of sorts if Hazuki was not on that card. Because she was mega over by the end of this match. And the fact that she was able to turn this crowd round. And again, they weren't anti-Hazuki to start off with by any stretch of the imagination. She got a really good reaction, but it was nothing to the Mercedes Mone reaction, which, you know, you'd expect. Absolutely. You know, there are going to be a number of those fans who have never seen Hazuki wrestle before, do not know who Hazuki is. And by the end of it, it was a 50-50 split. And I'm always completely in awe of wrestlers who wrestle someone, don't know the language, you know, there's no commonality in the language, and yet they are able to put on a match like this. I think, unless I'm very much mistaken, Hazuki flew out either Friday night or Saturday morning, which means that they had, a day less than to put this match together. And obviously, you know, there's going to be people there that can speak English and that can help. You know, Sumi Sakai, I know, was there backstage, and, you know, there's going to be people like that to help. But in that ring, there's, you know, it's the language of pro wrestling. And what we saw was that in its purest form. This was tremendous. Like, I am a huge Hazuki fan, a massive Hazuki fan. I know that Mercedes Mone's run it's yielded some really good matches. Again, that Momo Watanabe match, Chris Statlander as well. And it feels like recently she's starting to hit the stride we wanted her to hit. Maybe prior to, the Mayu Iwatani match, there was perhaps a couple of matches where it was like, okay, yeah, all right. Sorry, not the Mayu Iwatani match, post Mayu Iwatani match. The start of her AEW run is what I meant. There was a couple of matches that felt very safe, almost. Again, it really does feel like she is hitting that stride here, really earning that nickname of the CEO. This was tremendous. This was absolutely fantastic. Again, Dave Meltzer's come out and said he struggles to think of a better women's match in the US, which is, it's a massive compliment, that. And if this does get 5 stars, again, it's one person's opinion, but if this does get the recognition that it deserves, it's full credit to both women. But for Hazuki to do that, I am so made up for her. So made up for her. And again, you mentioned about the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Things don't happen for no reason. There are, especially recently in Stardom, things that are teased, there tends to be a
payoff.
Yeah, for lack of a better phrase, a payoff. What was that explosive singles match we had at Nagoya Golden Fight? Starlight Kid and Hazuki. And there was real hatred there. And they played up the fact that those two absolutely hate each other. What's come of that since? Not a lot. Nothing, in fact. Who might come out of Dream Queendom with that white belt? Starlight Kid. Who might Hazuki dethrone for the white belt? Starlight Kid. They've already started to sow the seeds of that feud. Why not have Hazuki be the one to dethrone Starlight? I don't think for a moment that Starlight Kid is only going to have one run with the white belt. It wouldn't surprise me if she has multiple runs with the white belt and becomes a red belt champion. However, I think for Hazuki, this eventual grasping of the white belt is the biggest thing in her career, without a shadow of a doubt. This albatross that currently hangs around her neck, 6 losses out of 6 when going for this Wonder of Stardom Championship. To do it against someone who she has such significant heat with, whether it is worked, whether it's exaggerated, or whether it's very, very real, to do it against someone where there is a story already there, I think that's perfect. That's perfect. You've literally got that set up. If it's Natsupoi that comes out of Dream Queendom as champion, doesn't matter. There's still a story there. There's still the story there. I mean, Natsupoi came out and said, look, you'll come back and you'll fight again. We've already got that there. Natsupoi is the person that sent Hazuki into that downward spiral. There is that story there. Whoever comes out of Dream Queendom as the white belt champion, Hazuki has a story with, which makes me think that Hazuki is the next champion after whoever comes out of Dream Queendom as the champion. I'd like it to be Starlight Kid, because again, we've got that real visceral hatred for each other there. But again, whoever it is, it's going to be an outstanding match. So again, full credit to both women. It's a tremendous wrestling match. I've watched it twice now. I gave it 4 3/4 the first time, simply because I don't know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just like, am I stupid giving this 5 stars? And then I watched it again and was like, I don't care. And I gave it 5. I thought, if something gives me that much joy watching it, if I'm on the edge of my seat like I was in this match, those two, and you've already mentioned them, those 2 near falls, the foot on the rope from the Moneymaker and the kick out of the Hazuki straddle, just perfection. Absolute wrestling timing perfection.
I was right around the 5-star scale with you, Rob, but when you get a crowd like that reaction, and you build and build and build and build, you got to give it 5 stars. And again, I mentioned, just kind of wrap up what happened in my house. I mentioned Amber was asleep on the couch. Match got over a little bit after 12. Got to be up. If I want to hit the gym in the morning, I got to be up at 4:15, which I knew my Monday is going to be a long day. I was told her, I said, I'm going to bed. She's like, did you stay awake for it? I said, yeah. She goes, was it worth it? I said, oh yeah. This thing could have got over at 3:00 in the morning, and it would have been worth it. And real quick, my man, how lucky are we that in a span of 4 days, Thursday and Sunday, we saw 2 instant classics to end the year with Sari and Nanae Takahashi. and Hazuki versus Mercedes Mone. And the fact that we get to talk about it on this podcast, man, to quote your book, we are really living the dream, my man. We really, really are. By the way, folks,
Hashtag blessed.
You can still get that book in time for Christmas, if not New Year's and Valentine's Day as well on Amazon.com by my good friend, Mr. Rob Goodwin.
Absolutely, nothing screams Valentine's Day like a Stardom book. So yeah, definitely go out of your way for that. Girlfriends and boyfriends will love you, definitely. Let's move on then, because again, we could spend the entirety of this podcast waxing lyrical about how good this match is, and you know, whatever it gets in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that. For me, it's a highlight of this entire calendar year. Tremendous match. And again, if the reason that Hazuki has not been belted up in the past is because they're not sure how she would get over with the crowd, there's your proof. There is your proof. She turned a very, very pro Mercedes Mone crowd into a 50-50 crowd with dueling CEO and Hazuki chants. So do you know what? There's your proof. Speaking of Mina Shirakawa obviously came out at the end, challenged Mercedes Mone. She will be challenging for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship at Wrestle Dynasty in the Tokyo Dome. That has now obviously been confirmed with a match graphic. Gotta say it, you've got to get it in there.
I love it. It gets old.
They did jump the gun slightly, and we did mention this yesterday. They did jump the gun slightly by announcing that it was a double title match for the undisputed British women's title that Mina currently holds in Rev Pro, conveniently forgetting that she actually has a title defense on the 21st of December against Danny Luna at Rev Pro. So thankfully, cooler heads have prevailed, and it has just at the moment been made for the New Japan Strong Women's title. I imagine when and if Mina Shirakawa retains her undisputed British women's title, it'll be made a double title match then. Moving on then, carrying on with the theme of Mina Shirakawa. Obviously, she was in the main event of Winter is Coming, the Dynamite special, against Mariah May, unsuccessful in her quest to become AEW Women's Champion. But Matt, I know you watched this match. What were your thoughts on this match, and how did Mina do in the main event? New gear.
Yeah, New gear. It was solid. It was a really, really good match. My expectations were really, really high. They didn't hit that just yet because it's the main event. It looked like we were going to get Road to Wonder of Stardom Championship Mina in this match. We got a little bit of it. I think Mariah May, her title run as far as match quality goes, has been really, really good. What she did in the Owen Hart tournament was great. Her victory over Toni Storm to win the championship back at Wembley Stadium at All In was terrific. And then she had a match with Willow Nightingale for that belt, I think on the last pay-per-view, which are 2 pay-per-views ago, which was solid. So this was a really, really solid match. Again, the main event, it's nice to see that these women are main eventing these shows, especially in front of a couple thousand people. And I think this one peaked at a little over 500,000 viewers as well. So not a bad number for having former Wonder of Stardom champion Mina Shirakawa being watched by a little bit over 500,000 people. Not a bad Wednesday night. Yeah, really terrific match, a nice 50-50 match back and forth. They did play up a lot on their rivalry, their feud. You know, this wasn't just a handshake match. They did a good job building this matchup and promos, and obviously the champagne celebration we did see back at Wrestle Dream. So really, really good stuff between the two of them back and forth. We did see that with Mina Shirakawa, she's been adopting a new finisher, the second rope sling blade, which I really, really like. She's adding stuff into her repertoire. Again, some really solid stuff. It got a good amount of time. The crowd was really into Mina from the start of the match. They did a great job on crowd psychology, taking them up, bringing them down, putting them back up. Really nice stretch finish where a lot of people did think Mina was going to win. Mina did hit the glamorous driver. Mina for a great near fall, which a lot of people thought that was the finish, but ultimately it was the Storm Zero that Mariah May pulled out in order to get the win over Mina Shirakawa. Again, a really, really good match, but nothing completely blow away. I had this one at 4 stars. And again, another great outing for Mina to be seen in front of that many people, not only in the building, but as well on TV.
Yeah, and again, as there always is, there's ratings discourse on in terms of AEW on all over social media, and I'm not getting into that because this isn't an AEW podcast. But speaking purely from a Mina Shirakawa point of view, having 500,000 people watching, you know, to be wrestling in front of that sort of television audience is huge for her. And obviously it's, in the long run, it benefits Stardom, because even if, 10, 20, 30, 40 people are like, this Mina Shirakawa is, I'm a big fan, I'm going to check out more of her Stardom stuff. It's more subscriptions to Stardom World, So yes, in terms of AEW, I don't know about the number because I don't watch AEW on a regular basis. However, in terms of solely Mina Shirakawa, who is a Stardom contracted wrestler that we enjoy watching, I think it's good for her. And ultimately, if it's good for her, it's good for the company. Where this partnership now goes, with obviously the storyline with Mina and Mariah May having come to a head. Obviously, we're pivoting now towards Mariah May and Toni Storm. What that means for Mina Shirakawa in AEW, at least in the immediate future, is yet to be seen. Obviously, as we've already mentioned, Mina Shirakawa is not on the Dream Queendom card as of yet. I think both of us are of the opinion that we could be seeing a preview tag of the Wrestle Dynasty match. So maybe Mina Shirakawa and, I don't know, Hanako or Waka Tsukiyama against, or maybe a returning Xena against Mercedes Mone and someone at Dream Queendom. I don't know. Obviously, AEW has a pay-per-view the night before, and it would be silly for AEW not to have Mercedes Mone on that. But again, we will see. Matt, let's move on then. Let's talk about some of the shows. And by some of the shows, I mean one of the two shows. And we're going to start in Takasaki on the 14th of December from the GMS Gunma Exhibition Hall C. The announced attendance is 409 people, making it the second biggest house of the 4 times Stardom have run the venue. Now, to give you some comparison, the highest is 423, which they drew back in November 2023 as part of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League show. The 409, though, is a 6.5% increase on the previous time Stardom ran the venue, which was back February 2024 when they drew 384. So a nice little increase, not quite the biggest house at the venue, but even so, considering this is very much a quintessential house show, these two felt very much like we're gearing up ready for Dream Queendom. I still think that's a decent number. In terms of the results, then, they are as follows. Tag team match, the Hate team of Saya Kamatani and Fukigen Death defeated the Cosmic Angels team of Tam Nakano and Sayaka Kurora, with Saya pinning Sayaka with the Star Crusher in 13 minutes and 12 seconds. 6-woman tag team match, the Stars team of Momo Kohgo, Saya Ida, and Hanan defeated the Neo Genesis team of Miyu Amasaki, Mei Seira, and Suzu Suzuki. Momo Kohgo getting the pin over Mei Seira with the 619 DDT in 10 minutes and 29 seconds. Tag team action then, the Cosmic Angels team of Saori Anou and Aya Sakura, they defeated the God's Eye team of Lady C and Rana Yagami. Aya Sakura submitting Rana Yagami with a modified triangle choke in 11 minutes and 6 seconds. 6-woman tag, God's Eye team of Shiori, Saki, Kashima, and Hina. God's Eye finally getting a win, by the way, defeated the Stars team of Mayu Utani and Koguma and Matoi Hamabe, with Hina pinning Matoi with the modified jackhammer in 13 minutes and 29 seconds. Tag team semi-main event, the Neo Genesis team of Starlight Kid and Azumi defeated the Cosmic Angels team of Natsupoi and Yuna Mizumori. Starlight Kid submitting Yuna with the Black Tiger leg killer in 15 minutes and 59 seconds. And then in your main event, 6-woman tag action, Empress Nexus Venus, Maika HANAKO, Waka Tsukiyama, and Ryan defeated the Hate team of Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, Konami, and Rina, with Hanako getting the definitive pinfall over Rina with the JP coaster in 13 minutes and 45 seconds. Matt, your standard wrestling we get from Stardom, all the matches are good to great, but we'll start with this opener, the Hate versus Cosmic Angels match. Some really cool little exchanges between Saya and Tam, really upping the hatred and the fire in this feud, which obviously they would then capitalize on in the press conference.
Was this once again on reverse order on Stardom World? Because I have
Yes, it
this as
was.
the main event. Okay, which I thought it would be because we're building to Tim and Saya, but at the same time, we've seen Stardom over the last 7, 8 months will put a hot match or a hot feud on first. Okay, so I just have to reverse in my notes. No problem. I see you, Stardom World, trying to get me. Rob Goodwin's always got my back. I know that. Yeah, this match was, you had your comedy to begin with, but ultimately it's about Tam. And both these shows were, again, they were run-of-the-mill house shows. They were really good because it's Stardom. Stardom doesn't put on bad shows because there's no bad wrestlers in this company. But what this was is we're pushing towards Dream Queendom. We're pushing to selling more tickets, more pay-per-views, more subscriptions on Stardom World. That's basically really what these two shows were. So you get a little comedy with Fukin Death because that's what she does. And then you ramp up Tam and Saya Kamatani. And then you do have Sayaka Kurora there as well, because we know that she's going to be an outlier to play in that main event coming up in 2 weeks' time. So I like how they integrated her in. I thought ultimately it was a really, really good match. And obviously with Saya Kamatani, because you want to build more heat and build up your challenger. So Saya Kamatani not only did get the win here, but she also got the better of Tam in these exchanges, which is what you want to do. You want your babyface champion to look like an underdog going into the championship matches. You want to keep making your heel bigger and badder to make it look like that the babyface has to overcome the big bad heel. And that's what they did here. Solid outing. I had it at 3 3/4 stars.
Yeah, 3.5 from me. Exactly the same, really. Saya Kamatani needing that win. I think Saya, even though she was very confident during the press conference, and obviously there was that very gift moment of her licking the cake off Tam's face. But it still felt somehow like Tam came out on top of that. And, you need to give Saya some heat, going into that match. You need to give her some momentum going into that match because she is, let's be perfectly honest, she's the hottest thing going in Stardom at the moment, in my humble opinion.
Fukin Death. Other than Fukin Death.
Well, yeah, obviously. But she's on a level on her own. That's like, come on. Like, can't compare God to everyone else. Jesus, Matt.
He's the God of them Jesus back and
Exactly.
forth. Oh my goodness. Oh.
But yeah, I think it's necessary to give Saya some big wins heading into Dream Queendom. I imagine that we'll have some sort of preview tag when it comes to the Korakuen Hall show. It wouldn't surprise me if it's Meltier versus Starlight Kid and Saya Kamatani as a preview tag. And it wouldn't surprise me if Saya Kamatani gets the pinfall there as well. Which again, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to. Momo Kohgo then finally getting the pinfall she deserves, obviously pinning Mei Seira during the 6-woman and making her challenge for the high speed championship. This has now been made official, obviously, for the Christmas Eve Korakuen Hall show. I want to see her win because I have lots and lots of love for Momo Kohgo. I have lots and lots of respect for Momo Kohgo for the reasons that we've outlined multiple times on the podcast. Do I think she will dethrone Mei Seira? No. And we've said it before that Mei Seira is the linchpin of this high speed division, and a high speed division that has recently lost Natsupoi Azumi and Starlight Kid. You are looking to rebuild that division. Mei Seira is the person you rebuild that division around. We've seen the wonderful work she did with Xena. We saw the wonderful work that she did with Yuna Mizumori. Let her have a fantastic match with Momo Kohgo. Yes, Momo Kohgo is going to be looking at the lights, but just like we were talking about with Azumi before, I have no doubt that even if she loses, Momo Kohgo will be elevated by how she loses, in the manner of which she loses. So again, tremendous here to get that limelight, to get those couple of key wins. Obviously, she got the pinfall in the last match of the tag league for Peach Rock and got a massive reaction, which was clearly very emotional for her, which was a really wholesome moment, actually. And then to get the win here, a really big win, really. When you look at that Neo Genesis team, Miyu Amasaki, Mei Seira, and Suzu Suzuki, it's not a weak side at all. And you could be forgiven for thinking that if Stars were going to win, it would be Sayarida or Hanan, obviously building up to their big title match at Dream Queendom. But to give it to Momo Kohgo to set up that high-speed title match, which I don't want to toot my own horn, I did see coming. I called it. Yeah, great for her. yeah, should be a really good match at Korakuen, Matt.
Yeah, you made mention the strength of this Neo Genesis team. Miyu Amasaki, she's the current future Stardom champion. Mei Sarah is the current high-speed champion, and Suzu Suzuki won the 5-star last year. And that Suzu Suzuki and Mei Sarah were former Goddess of Stardom tag team champions. So it's a big win on multiple reasons. This match was my favorite match of the show. This was absolutely fantastic. There's always like one or two pairings when we review these shows that were like, oh, that's a match I want to see. We made mention 2 or 3 shows ago, like, oh, we want to see Suzu Suzuki versus Soriano because just the great chemistry that these girls in Stardom have. We're like, oh, that's a singles match I want to see. Suzu Suzuki, Saya Ida.
Saya Ida.
Yeah, you knew where I was going to go. I saw you, Bobby.
Man.
Again, they start out, big lockup. I'm all for it. And that was the only thing big that happened in this match. Big chops, big forms. These two just waylaid on each other. And again, I think that Hanan and Saida may be my lock of the pay-per-view coming up in 2 weeks. I really think that they're going to be the next Goddess champions, and rightfully so. Against Crazy Star or Suzu and Starlight Kid. I think either way you slice, I think would be great. I just want to see more Suzu versus Saida because they were terrific. Obviously, Hanan's great here. Miyu Amasaki's terrific. Everybody played their role real well. But what this match was just basically to get Momo Kohgo up to that next level where she eventually does get the clean win over the high-speed champion. And then we get the challenge because their ending stretch, the last minute and a half, was so good. It was so perfection, considering the fact they were able to wrestle 9 minutes up until this point, and they were able to close out that last 60, 90 seconds the way they did with perfection, with high-speed action, not a misstep. It was just wrestling beauty between these two. The fact that Momo Kohgo was able to keep up with Mei Sarah, and Mei Sarah does make sure that Momo Kohgo needs where she has to be because, again, that's going to be a match that they're looking to try to sell tickets for Korakuen Hall just in less than a week's time. Oh, my goodness. It's crazy how this year's just flying by.
Really
and again, we see Momo Kohgo winning matches with a lot of moves. I think the 619 DDT is her cleanest move. I think that might be my favorite move that she does. And she's able to spike Mei Sarah. Mei Sarah does a great job taking it and selling it, getting the 3 count. Again, excellent stuff. Really got a little bit of a sample of tag team stuff with Wingori and Crazy Star, which is a match that I think everybody wants to see. But ultimately, this was all about building Momo Kohgo up to that challenge that she's having in less than a week's time. 4 stars for me, my friend. Like I said, my favorite match from this show.
Cosmic Angels then, Soriano and Aya Sakura, something of an underrated partnership in terms of Cosmic Angels. And then the God's Eye team of Lady C and Rani Agami, another good win for Aya Sakura, who is another person that Stardom seemingly are really behind, and rightly so after what was a stellar tag league for her and Yuna Mizumori, even if the points tally didn't necessarily show it.
Yeah, again, solid stuff here. And this match was really about the Lady C show. She came in, was just like, I'm going to make sure that I stand out this match. And she does. And obviously, Soriano is the big star in this match, former Wonder of Stardom champion, somebody that can main event any show at any time. We hope to see her in the red belt picture in 2025 because she's all sorts of fantastic. But yeah, Lady C and Ranna Yugami, they do their job really well. But Soriano, and I made mention this a few times before, I'm going to make mention again, when she's in a tag match with these lower members of Cosmic Angels, like the, obviously the Yunas, the Sakuras, the Aya Sakuras, she does a great job setting them up for success. So we see Aya Sakura is getting banged up here towards the end of the match. Soriano comes in and is able to set up Aya Sakura for the triangle choke submission here. And again, she's just opening the door where it's like, I'm coming in, let me clean up. You put the finishing touches on this. Let's get a win and get out of here. So I like that. I like that leadership from Soriano, considering the fact that she's not the leader of Cosmic Angels, but at the same time, no one will say no when she takes the leadership role because she's really, really good elevating the younger talent in Cosmic Angels. Solid enough outing, 3.5 stars for me.
God's Eye against Stars and Matoi Hamabe. Something really interesting actually happened after the match. So Matoi Hamabe obviously takes the pinfall off of Hina, and she's led backstage by a very caring Koguma and Mayu. And she's asked backstage by Koguma, bearing in mind she's just teamed with Stars, she's backstage with Stars. What faction would you like to join? Matoi Hamabe, without missing a beat, God's Eye. And the look of absolute abject horror on Koguma's face is brilliant. She is appalled that she dare say that, and then says, oh, looks like we may not be teaming together again then. And it becomes very, very awkward. So it looks like Matoi might be joining God's Eye. As we mentioned, God's Eye got the victory here, and it feels like God's Eye are in desperate need of some victories. For me, the addition of Matoi, even though, I think she has a style that would fit with quite a few different factions. I think having her in God's Eye works. And, I don't necessarily just want to relegate her, at least initially, to the role of Pin Eater. But having her in there does free up the likes of Lady C, Hina, and Rani Yagami, who accumulate all of those pinfalls. And it does allow you to begin pushing those women up the ranks of that faction. Obviously, we've got Amisori to come back as well. But I do wonder if Matoi joining God's Eye, it's not official yet, even though she teamed with Saki Kashima the following night. I wonder if that is where we get a push for maybe a Rani Yagami or a Lady C or a Hina. What do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Let's start pushing Lady C. I mean, her effort that she puts in on these shows is tremendous. And let's start pushing her up the card. Let's maybe getting her some, goddess matches or some artist matches or new blood championship, because she's fantastic. So I think that's the way to go. Or maybe they'll just give Matoi kind of maybe a super rookie push. We've seen how good, and we'll talk about on the next show. We talked about like 2 or 3 weeks ago that they randomly put her in a 3-way with Azumi and Natsupoi. And I was like, who booked this? And I was like, oh, what do I know? Because not only does she hang with Natsupoi and Azumi, but give Azumi and Natsupoi credit. They make sure. It's just like, we're going to run you, but like, we're going to run you. Like, we'll help you, but you got to stay with us. And she did. And again, considering the fact that she's had 10, 12 matches, she was great here. Her stuff with Sherry was terrific. A lot of this was kind of comedy stuff with Saki Kashima and Koguma. We did get a little brief exchanges with Mayu and Shuri and Patreon members. That Mayu versus Shuri episode will be in your feed. I think probably by the time this drops, give or take. So again, anytime they're in the ring together, it's magic. We just got just a little bit, because we know how great they are. But it was nice seeing Hina get a win here. You're absolutely right. God's Eye, they need to start piling some wins together. And, they didn't have the best of years when it comes to win-loss record, but maybe they'll end the year with some wins to carry into 2025. Yeah, really solid stuff. Funny little comedy sketch backhand. I think Matoi, we made mention she probably fits stars really well because they never replaced Victoria Hazuki, who is doing phenomenal work over in Marigold, by the way. But with that judo background, she fits really, really well in the shooter style that is God's Eye. And again, if God's Eye wants to up their ranks, push Lady C, get Matoi in there, have her doing some training stuff with Shuri, getting her, because even her forearms from match 1 to these 2 matches were light years better already. I'm like, okay. And then obviously the big thing we want to happen in God's Eye, Rob, we haven't said in 2 or 3 weeks, we're overdue. Sign Tomoka Inaba. Sign Tomoka Inaba. Who, by the way, is wrestling Mako Satomoro.
I know.
On the JTO
Excellent
show,
work, Taka.
Yeah, great job. But solid enough stuff. 3.5 stars for me, partner.
The return of Starbomb is something that was very exciting heading into this. It was something that we wondered if we might get from the tag league, and something that would have been very interesting. Maybe it's something we get next year, but the teams of Starlight Kid and Suzu Suzuki and Azumi and Miyu Amasaki did just fine in that tag league. This was great. Obviously, it looks like the way that we're going in terms of this Dream Queen match between Kid and Poi is Poi's work of the arm and Kid's work of the knee. And it's going to be a case of which one breaks first. And that's a very exciting matchup when you've got Natsupoi, who sells so brilliantly, and you've got Starlight Kid, who is so good in that relentless attacking of a limb, that almost shark-like focus. It's going to be tremendous. And then obviously here you add Azumi and Yuna Mizumori to add to that action as well. Love the fact that because we are now focusing on the white belt and Natsupoi wants to sort of showcase just how serious she is about this white belt, she's wearing the Kairi Hojo gear as well, that's been bequeathed to her by former Wonder of Stardom champion Kairi, which is sort of emblematic of her run with the red belt and the white belt. I thought this was a great match. Again, they certainly have a better match in them, as we are going to find out at Dream Queendom, but this was a really good preview match. And that final shot of Starlight Kid holding Yuna Mizumori in that Black Tiger leg killer whilst Azumi is holding off Natsupoi and almost making her watch Starlight Kid submit her Cosmic Angels teammate was very, very, very well done.
Yeah, you got arguably maybe the three best high-speed wrestlers as far as work goes in this match with Azumi, Natsupoi, and Starlight Kid. And obviously Yuna Mizumori, we've seen she's does very well at that high-speed style. Again, that match with Sarah the main event of Cork and Hall just about a month or so ago was terrific. And they start with Azumi and Yuna doing some high-speed style stuff. So that was a great way to start this match. We got some great star bomb offense. Really, really great stuff because those two just gel so well as a team. We know how good they were as opponents, and they've been, again, eternal foes, forever foes. Great as tag team. Natsupoi Yuna, terrific as well. Ultimately, this is just giving us little sprinkles, little stuff that we're going to see on Dream Queendom. Again, that's basically the gist of these two shows, whereas we're just building towards the Dream Queendom card, and as well as the Korakuen show coming up on Christmas Eve with the Momo Kohgo win. But really good stuff there. We know how great these two are. We've seen them feud for that high-speed championship quite a bit over the last handful of years, and would not be shocked if this one absolutely steals the show coming up in just about 2 weeks' time. But yeah, really excellent stuff back and forth with ultimately just Starlight Kid getting the win with a leg crusher over Yuna. I had this at 3 3/4 stars, and you're absolutely right, partner. We've seen Natsupoi going to Starlight Kid's arm. We see Starlight Kid going to Natsupoi's knee. You made mention just how great selling of a seller Natsupoi is, and you can't take away the credit that is Starlight Kid, how great she is, especially after this babyface turn, even though she's kind of been a babyface for the last year or so, but the official babyface turn, her crowd psychology. And again, it's one thing to be good at regular psychology. It's another thing to be really good at crowd psychology. You know, you mentioned Kyrie just a moment ago. I don't know if there's anybody I've seen better at crowd psychology in the last 7-8 years than Kyrie, knowing what to do when. Like Starlight Kid understands to hold off on something and then to hit it to kind of get your biggest reaction you can from said move or said spot. And I think that just with the high-speed style of Starlight Kid and Natsupoi, and then we're going to break it down into breaking down an arm, breaking down a knee, the selling of Natsupoi, the crowd psychology of Starlight Kid, and then we know those two can hit absolutely huge moves. You know, Natsupoi with the Ferial Ring and obviously the German suplex and the Ferial Gift, and Starlight Kid with one of the best moonsaults in wrestling and the Black Tiger leg pile driver. You put that all together in a big main event style match coming up in Sumo Hall, and this one's got instant classic written all over it, my friend, and what's probably going to be just another great match in the history of the Wonder of Stardom Championship.
And then obviously our main event, EXV defeating Hate, setting up not only HANAKO and Waka's challenge for the New Blood tag team titles at New Blood 17, which we've already talked about that coming up on Boxing Day, but also added a bit more fuel to the fire of Micah and Natsuko Tora as well, Matt.
Yeah, again, the majority of this is just you're building up Tor and Mike, and rightfully so. But I like how, of course, Rob, to the shock of nobody, we get a big brawl to start. Who didn't see that coming?
Hate gotta hate. Haters gotta hate.
They gotta hate, and I may as well say it just because, just for old time's sake, a Wedo tie's got a Wedo tie. By old time's sake, I mean 6 months ago. But anyway, so you get the big brawl to start, and then of course they throw Rihanna in, and you know she's gonna take the heat, right? Again, she's the rookie, she's the young one. You're gonna want her in the ring the most to work on the selling, to get her in the ring, to get her more over with the crowd. And Rihanna is just another one that has improved leaps and bounds, and she's only been wrestling, 6-7 months or whatever it is. So they put the heat on her. I like how it's like, okay, you figured the hot tag is going to go to HANAKO or Micah, right? Because you probably might do more than one hot tag. Eventually, the big one's going to go to Micah because she's the main eventer here, and HANAKO is kind of the hammer. But it goes to Waka. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Waka comes in and runs hot on Momo Kohgo Momo Watanabe, for all of about 30 seconds. And then Momo Watanabe's like, nah, man.
Latins it.
It's great. Again, maybe the next Stardom Cast t-shirt will be poor Waka, because we do say that a lot on this show.
We do, yeah.
Poor Waka, because you're like, oh, that's cool. Waka's getting the hot tag. And I'm like, oh, the well ran dry pretty quick because Momo Watanabe wasn't having it. She was the hammer here. But you're absolutely right. Tora was great here. Arena was good. Great stuff with Arena. HANAKO and Waka again as we're building towards that new blood match here. But ultimately, this was Tora and Micah, and we know we're going to get, to quote Jim Ross, it's going to be bowling shoe ugly, and it needs to be. And then I made
Oh, yeah.
mention. I made mention this. This isn't going to be Shiri and Micah. This isn't going to be your great grappling. This is going to be hard hitting. It's going to be chair bowling all over the place, weapons all over the place, tables breaking. This is going to be your wild, wild match of what is going to be a great show coming up in 2 weeks. We got a little bit of a preview here, but I like how in this main event, now that I know it was the main event, thanks partner, that it was HANAKO getting the win. So again, we're putting more steam behind HANAKO. So again, it's interesting to see where she's going to be come Dream Queendom, because again, she's another one that we don't know where she's going to be at going into that show. But I have this one at 3 3/4 stars, a really solid match to end. Again, what was a really solid show from Stardom.
Yeah, absolutely. It really was. Again, it's these two shows, especially the second one in Saku, where we've had a little bit to talk about in regards to title matches being set up. Obviously, Matoi's post match, where she talks about joining God's Eye, whereas Saku, really good wrestling, not a great deal to talk about in terms of stuff coming out of this show. But that being said, we might as well dive headlong into it. The show from the 15th of December, Stardom in Saku 2024. It is worth pointing out something that I didn't say for the previous two shows. Obviously, no Hazuki on these shows. She's in the US, as we've just talked about, wrestling Mercedes Mone. No Tekla on these shows, as well as she is on her suspension for attacking someone at a ring during the 7th of December Goddess of Stardom Tag League show. She will return on the 22nd of December, which is obviously this Sunday. In terms of the attendance then, so this show is from the Nagano Budokan, and the attendance announced is 278. This is the third time the Stardom has run the venue, and it marks a marginal decrease of just under 8% from the previous show there. Previous show being the 2023 5-Star Grand Prix Night 2, where they drew 302 people back in June 2023. Interestingly, this number, 278, also marks the smallest attendance for a Stardom show since New Blood West 2 on the 16th of November, which was 246. And if you discount New Blood's shows entirely, it's the smallest Stardom show since the 12th of October in Komatsu Suyaharu Gymnasium in Ishikawa, which drew 250. So there you go. A little bit of a stat for you there. Quick results then. 6-woman tag team match. Neo Genesis side of Starlight Kid, Suzu Suzuki and Miyu Amasaki defeated the Cosmic Angels team of Natsupoi, Yuna Mizumori and Sayaka Kurora. Miyu pinning Sayaka Kurora with the Amana Hashidate in 11 minutes and 13 seconds. Three-way match. Koguma defeating Rani Yagami and Rian. Koguma pinning Rani Yagami with the Kuma roll in 10 minutes. Tag team match, Neo Genesis, Meisera and Azumi defeating Saki Kashima and Matoi Hamabe, with Meisera pinning Matoi with the shooting star in 8 minutes and 48 seconds. 6-woman tag, the hate team of Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, and Konami defeated the Stars team of Mai Iwatani, Hanan, and Saya Ida. Momo Watanabe pinning Saya Ida with the Tequila Sunrise in 11 minutes and 44 seconds. In a 6-woman tag, the EXV team, Maika, Hanako, and Waka Tsukiyama defeated the God's Eye team of Shiori, Lady C, and Hina. Waka Tsukiyama getting the submission with the Paro special in 10 minutes and 29 seconds, submitting Lady C. And then in your main event, Cosmic Angels, Tam Nakano and Aya Sakura defeating the hate team of Saya Kamatani and Rina. Tam pinning Rina with the Violet Screwdriver in 17 minutes and 29 seconds. Talking about that opener then, Matt, that 6-woman tag, Neo Genesis versus Cosmic Angels. Great match. Miyu getting the pinfall victory. Doesn't take away from the fact that Sayaka Kurora has a phenomenal spear, and she very nearly spears Miyu Amasaki in half. She absolutely thumps into the future of Stardom champion. And those exchanges between those two, I thought, were a real highlight of this match, even though, obviously, the focus very much Natsupoi and Starlight Kid again.
Yeah, this match did accomplished three things. We got more Starlight Kid and Natsupoi, a little bit, not as much as the show before, but obviously we're trying to highlight Miyu Amasaki and Sayaka Kurora going into their championship match on, that's the Korakuen show, right? 24th?
Yes.
The future star? Yes. And then Again, I don't know. It seems like every week I just want to see Suzuki in singles, but I want to see Suzu and Yuna Mizumori. It's anytime we have this, it's just like Suzu just has chemistry with every wrestler, whether hard hitting, technical, high speed, doesn't matter. Suzu just works so well with everybody. Tag matches, singles matches, 6-person, 8-person. She's tremendous here. Yeah, ultimately, we start with Natsupoi and Starlight Kid. They get their stuff in. We get the double teams, the triple teams, really great Neo Genesis teamwork. Again, Neo Genesis, they just remind me of like Stars meets Queen's Quest when it comes to like their contrived double, triple, and quadruple team spots. I mean, really, really good. It's just excellent how they gel so well together. And then ultimately, though, this basically breaks down into a little bit of a preview what we're getting at Korakuen Hall with the Miyu Amasaki and Sayaka Kurora. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Sayaka Kurora hits a huge spear onto Miyu, which I thought should have been the finish because I think you need to build your challenger up a little bit more. But regardless, Miyu getting the win with the Amana Hapadashi or whatever you call it. Again, I will call it the leg capture O'Connor roll because that's the technical term for it. It's a leg capture and the Pat O'Connor roll. So there you go, folks. That's what I'm going to tell. That's again, as we say in catch wrestling, it's got more than one name, probably works. And clearly it works here. Getting Miyu Amasaki the win, 3 3/4 stars for me.
I've got no idea if I'm saying it right, really. I'm just saying it phonetically.
You sound great. You sound
Amana
great.
Hashidate. Again, I have no idea if that's right, but there we are. Matt, the three-way match, and this has been brought up by a friend of the show, Big Beard Booty Daddy, over on Twitter, that Rani Yagami versus the Kuma Dance might be Stardom's feud of the year. And I must admit, it is up there because yet again, poor Rana bullied, and it is bullying. Let's get that out there. It is bullying into doing that Kuma dance, but thankfully, Suri is there to be the savior. Suri, who genuinely looks like she's having the time of her life with this weird little lower mid card storyline coming out, just being completely over dramatic about the entire situation. It proper tickles me every time it happens. It doesn't get old. Just Rani Yagami being like, no, I can't do it. Shiori will kill me. And Koguma just being like, come on. And then Rian's just like, yeah, come on. Very, very entertaining. Wouldn't be surprised if this is voted feud of the year. But that being said, just a bit of a palate cleanser otherwise.
It was fun. It was funny. Mm-hmm. It was a comedy match. And again, I like how Sherry's coming in for the Kuma, because it's like, again, Sherry, you're putting more credibility having, former World of Stardom champion, the biggest badass in your company, maybe the biggest badass in all of wrestling, one of the most legit, it's like her, Minoru Suzuki, two of the most legit, actual pure pro wrestlers, shoot style wrestlers out there. But it's like she comes down and just it adds to this little thing. It's not much, but you're sprinkling in a lot of seasoning, having Sherry in there and playing it straight, which is kind of funny, just goes to show you just the depth of the character that Sherry is. And she's just terrific. But yeah, again, this was 3.5 stars, 10 minutes. It was fun. You had your comedy stuff. Rianne really shined out to me in this one. Because again, you're doing Rani Yagami versus the Kuma dance, which obviously the queen of the Kuma dance is the bear, Koguma. And then Rianne, when her time was right for her to shine, she got in everything she needed to do. But ultimately, the Koguma getting the Kuma role over Rani Yagami. Yeah, 3.5 stars. This was a fun one. This isn't one I'm going to be going back and doing some deep analyzation like I did with Mercedes Mone and Hazuki. But I enjoyed it for the 10 minutes it was on my screen.
Don't lie, you absolutely will do. It'll be a Patreon exclusive episode at some point.
Damn right. IT breakdown with me and Andy Header.
Imagine. Meisei and Azumi versus Saki Kashima and Matoi Hamabe. Obviously, this is the first time that we've seen Matoi Hamabe with God's Eye since she sort of declared that she wants to join them. How do you think she did? And did you appreciate Saki Kashima throwing Matoi to the wolves on more than one occasion?
Yeah, the bell rings. I think she Irish whips. Like she goes to shake her hand, and she whips her into the two former the current high speed champion, the former one. And I made mention a few minutes ago how when they did the 3-way with Azumi and Natsupoi and Matoi, Mei Sarah probably works a faster style than Azumi and Natsupoi. Matoi Hamabe, she stays with Azumi and Mei Sarah. They pick her apart in the beginning, and then she starts picking them apart with forearms. I'm like, oh. Okay, her forms have already improved tenfold in the matter of a month's time in high-speed style. places at the right time. Saki Kashima comes in there, does the funny stuff, does what she needs to do, try to steal some wins. Really good stuff there. Ultimately, it's just that fast double teamwork we've seen with Azumi and Meisera. That spot they do where their opponent's hanging on the outside and they double jump over the top ropes, drop kick the person's head, the person sells in the middle of the ring, and then they double Tihara over into the ring and then do another drop kick. The fact they do that like perfect every time blows my mind. Yeah, it's just so in sync. But again, Matoi's she's only been wrestling like a month or two, and you swear she's wrestling 3 or 4 years. So again, she's another one of these Stardom rookies that is somebody that's going to have a really big 2025 and 2026, and she works that shoot style offense really well, and her striking's already coming along really well. And if she goes to God's eye, she's going to be tutored under Shuri. Look what we saw at Rana Yugami. Short time she's been in God's eye. Fantastic performer. The fact that she can hang in almost any style already, she's going to be a very, very special talent. I just went at 3.5 stars. It was fun. It was really cool to see Matoi be able to hang in there with 2 world-class athletes, 2 world-class wrestlers in Azumi and Meisera. And Saki Kashima just adds that little comic relief where she needs to. So, yeah, really fun stuff.
Hate versus Stars. Then Momo Watanabe getting a pinfall over one half of the challengers. Again, really, really, really good exchanges, Matt. You said you want to see different singles matches. I want to see Momo Watanabe versus Sairida again. I know we saw it in the 5-star Grand Prix, but I want to see it again. I want it to be 15 minutes of just pure beating each other to death. I think it's going to be great. This Goddess of Stardom tag team match really has the potential to blow away this card. And I really, really, really hope that Hate don't get in their own way in terms of this title match and don't just try and not necessarily overcomplicate it, but
interfere.
Yeah. Just try and add too much to it, which in the back of my mind, I've got a nagging thing that they might. If they just do little bits of it, we saw how well that did with different matches throughout the tag league, where just that little bit of cheating as like a last minute desperation thing works really well. We saw it with Psy Queen in particular. If we can learn from that with Hate Supreme and in Dream Queendom, then I think that we've got a very, 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 very good match on our hands. But yes, Momo Watanabe getting a win here ahead of that match on the 29th.
Again, obviously Tekla's suspended. So what you're doing here is, yes, you're building up Sai and Hanan versus Momo Watanabe. Really, Momo and Tora here were kind of the team. And again, they were Team XL. Last year at Dream Kingdom, they challenged Aphrodite for the tag team championships, the goddess belts. Again, I think Han and Saida are walking away the 29th as the goddess champions. Wouldn't mind seeing Wingori versus Team XL for the goddess belts because, again, Momo Watanabe gels so well. Natsuko Tora is just an absolute hammer. You made mention just a minute ago, partner, you don't want to see two. They're going to cheat. They're going to bend the rules.
Of course, yeah, of course. And the heels, they should do, yeah.
Obviously, Momo's talented enough where she's not going to do it in front of the referee. Tekla is, again, probably the best, either her or Tora, probably the best pure heel in this company. By pure heel, I mean some of you will pay to see get beat, where like Kamatani and Momo, it's like they're heels, but they're the cool heels and the great working heels. But Konami here again, who was terrific, her stuff with Mayu. Again, there's another match I would like to see somewhere down the line. We haven't seen a Konami versus Mayu big singles match in quite some time, maybe the 2018 or 2019 5-star. But yeah, again, solid stuff here. Your main crux is you're building towards Wingori versus Momo Watanabe and Tekla. 4 stars. This is one of my favorite matches of this show.
Semi-main event, EXV, Waka Tsukiyama, Waka Mania, running wild Matt, a submission victory over Lady C here, ready for that New Blood Tag Team title challenge. Again, another good match. It's nice to see Waka getting that submission pinfall. Lady C not overly happy about it post-match. There was a little bit of toing and froing with the ice pack, but apart from that, I thought this was another really solid match. Another loss for God's eye, but there we are.
Made mention when we reviewed the Goddess match with Cup High Mate versus Shuri and Saki Kashima. It was a great match because ultimately it just turned into a Shuri versus Micah singles match. Like that's that, and sometimes that's what you need to do. Like let the main eventers play. We got a little bit in the beginning, I made mention this Tor Micah match we're getting at Dream Queendom. It's not going to be Mike and Shuri with the grappling, and nor should it. but these two are so good together. And again, I think Mike is going to get another red belt reign in the next year or two. She's got to have that big Sherry championship match because we saw Sherry at the tail end of her run back in 2022. That match she had with Micah was one of the underrated matches that she's had in that terrific run, and something that I highly advise and recommend everybody go back and watch. That Sherry Micah match. I think it was October from 2022 for Sherry's World of Stardom Championship. But they have great chemistry together. Sherry's obviously fantastic. Micah's the best she's ever been, and probably only getting a little bit better. HANAKO here was great, but this was, I got the biggest smile on my face. This match, it's all about Wakamania, brother. All about building Waka up again, and great job. Obviously, her and Waka and HANAKO are going for those belts coming in just about a week or so's time, and that's what you want to do here. You want to build them up, and you have a ready-made story here. If Waka and HANAKO do win the belts, you can do Lady C and Ranna Yagami, you can do Lady C and Hina. You can do Hina and Ranna Yagami. You can kind of just mix that up and have a pairing there, and you have another New Blood Championship tag match main event because it's all right there. So I like how Mike and Sherry, they did what they needed to do. They brought the star power when they needed to, but ultimately it was all about them kind of separating and letting Lady C, Hina, Waka, and HANAKO get in there and get themselves over, which they did. 3 3/4 stars. Shooter Waka, we have, my friend, winning matches with submission holds. She ain't messing around. I wouldn't mess around. I wouldn't. If I met Waka in a dark alleyway, I'm running the other way, brother. The other way. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm afraid of Waka. I'm afraid of Waka, as well as everybody should be.
I do think they've missed an opportunity to call Waka and HANAKO's tag team WANAKO. I'm really quite disappointed that that's not their tag team name.
Wait a minute, I got it. Because they're called rice or bread. What if you have WANAKO flavored rice or bread? Or like how you have like Kellogg's has Fruity Pebbles or whatever. WANAKO is the brand of rice or bread.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, there it is. There's another T-shirt for you, Stardom. There's another T-shirt, bumper stickers, whatever you want, my man. Face neck tattoos.
Neck tattoos. That's what Waka Tsukiyama's going to come out with next time. Just a neck tat.
She's a shooter now. She's a shooter
absolutely.
now. She's a legit badass. You may as well get a neck tattoo of rice and bread.
Yeah. And then just comes out with like the MMA shorts with all the sponsors on, the gloves, like Shooter Waka.
To Goldberg's music, right? He's not wrestling. He's not wrestling anymore.
Exactly. He doesn't need it. And then obviously your tag team main event, Tam and Aya Sakura versus Saya Kamatani and Rina. This for me is the extended, not necessarily higher quality, because that's disrespectful to Sayaka Kurora and Fukigen Death. But whereas that, especially early on, lent into a little bit of the comedy with obviously Fukigen Death, who is a primarily comedy wrestler, aside from being the greatest wrestler, obviously, on God's green earth.
Ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Take that, Kabashi.
You just called out Kenta Kabashi on the Stardom Cast.
I'm not scared of Kenta Kabashi. I am.
I hope he's at WrestleCon, because every now and again they'll bring him for WrestleCon. I hope he's in WrestleCon in Vegas. And I'm going to play this clip for him.
Please don't. Do you know what? If I got chopped by Kenta Kobashi, it's something off the bucket list.
I know. I want that to happen too. We've seen Kenta Kobashi chopping fans. I am all for it. I'm like, yeah. Absolutely. How much do I pay? How much do I pay? I'm all for it. Anywho, my man, back to Saya Kamatani.
But yeah, this is basically your longer, more wrestling focused version of what we got on the show from the 14th, and I think it benefited from that. We got little pockets of Aya Sakura and Rina, and we know that feud is really, really good from their Future of Stardom title match, and obviously the little bits that have gone on since then. But again, Tam and Saya at the moment are really, really, really working, really cooking towards this Dream Queendom main event. It's a hot feud. It's working really, really well. And considering, looking back at when Saya first turned me and you were like, I don't understand how this is going to work. This just isn't going to work. And now Saya Kamatani is the hottest thing in the company, and is a very, very, very good, cool heel. That's why me and you don't book, I think. But yeah, nevertheless, this was a really good match. Another really good preview towards their Dream Queendom match. And I imagine it certainly won't be the last.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned I was wrong about the Sai Kamatani turn about 3 or 4 weeks, so I guess I'm overdue. Folks, I was way wrong, and I was pleasantly. I like it when I'm wrong about certain things because
Yeah, why not?
I
Exactly.
love me some Saya Kamatani. And she's absolutely fantastic. But you're absolutely right. Like the match from the day before, when maybe we got like 20-25% of Sai and Tam, where this was like 40-50 because they started out really quick exchange because they know each other so well. And actually, just over the weekend, I watched their 2 Sumo Hall matches back to back from Dream Queendom 1, and then just about 4 months after that from World Climax Night 2. And it's just, these two have such great chemistry together. And you see it here. Again, these two are just dodging what they're doing. Then Saya Kamatani is doing the eye taunt. Tam is doing the cutest taunt. So I like that. So then it's like they separate, they tag in Ai and Rena. Ai and Rena do a great job getting in what they need to get in, tell their story. Then we get some heat on Aya. We get some teamwork from Tam and Aya Sakura. Really good stuff there. And then we go back to Sai and Tam, where now it's ramped up to another level. Now they're hitting the big moves. They're hitting the big slams. They're teasing the tiger suplexes. They're teasing the star crushers. Really great stuff back and forth. We're in the beginning of the match. We got just a little tagged out. They brought it back together with the 2 main eventers, and now we're getting the hard hitting. We're getting the super stiff kicks and forearms and slap exchanges. Eventually, Rena gets in there. She has a great exchange with Tam. Tam does a good job shining her up, only for her to be able to hit the violent screwdriver for the pin. A really, really solid match to end a solid card. I had this one at 4 stars, and this was my favorite match of this show.
Yeah. By the way, I did mention obviously Hazuki and Tekla weren't on this card. I did forget that Momo Kohgo wasn't on this card. The reason she wasn't was that she was taking part on the Pure J Korakuen Hall show, where she teamed with Riko Kawahata and Saki to defeat Cherry Kazuki and Momo Tani as well. So
Saki from Colors?
Saki from Colors.
I miss her. I haven't seen her wrestle in quite some time. Hopefully we'll see her. Yeah, I know she's really good friends with CB from Spark Joshi, so hopefully we'll see her on that card. Yeah, I haven't seen a Saki match in a while. I'm a big fan of hers.
Yeah, we should petition, get her back in Stardom. But that being said, just before I throw into Io and Kairi Watch, just want to remind everyone that Stardom do have shows this weekend. Everything now from today onwards into 2025 is live. So the shows from the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd are all live on Stardom World. And at the moment those cards have been announced, what has been announced, as we went through on the last episode of the Stardom Cast, is the 16-woman mini tournament for the International Cup at Wrestle Dynasty. So we've got a show on the 20th at Edion Arena, Osaka. We have got we've got 2 4-ways. The next 2 are on the next night. But on this first show in Osaka, we have got Hanan versus Yuna Mizumori versus Saki Kashima versus Momo Watanabe. We've also got Syuri versus Saya Ida versus Rani Agami versus Fukigen Death. Again, the winners of these 4-ways will go into a final 4-way, and the winner will go on to the Tokyo Dome on the 20th.
In a 4-way.
In a 4-way. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, the other 3 competitors in that have been confirmed: Persephone from CMLL, Willow Nightingale from AEW, and Athena from Ring of Honor. Nagoya Congress Center Hall will be the venue for the 21st on Saturday. Those 4-ways are Koguma versus Waka, Tsukiyama versus Tomoka Inaba versus Rena. We've then got Konami versus Suzu Suzuki versus Hina versus Aya Sakura. And again, the winners of those 4-ways will go into another final 4-way on the 22nd in Hashiogi. Hachiogi. There you go. I was going to come up with something else, but no, it's just in Hashioji. So we will, by the time we podcast next, we will have the Stardom representative for Wrestle Dynasty. I think that both me and you, Matt, were of the opinion that it should be Momo Watanabe. Whether it is or not, obviously, whoever goes will do a fantastic job. If not Momo Watanabe, it absolutely should be Tokyo Dome Clown, but we will see. All 3 of those shows will air live on Stardom World. We've then got this show on the 24th, which is the Korakuen Hall show. That is going to air live on YouTube and Stardom World, as is New Blood 17 on the 26th. Just final thing before I throw it to you, Matt, on Io and Kairi watch. Waka Tsukiyama did announce during that press conference we spoke about at the top of the show that there was going to be some sort of YouTube live special on New Year's Eve. Nothing has been announced as of yet as to what that is going to entail, but there is going to be some sort of YouTube special on New Year's Eve. So we'll see what that entails.
I think it's 10 hours of Fuking and death matches. I think that's what a better way to end what's been just a great year for us personally and professionally, and a great way to slingshot ourselves into 2025. I mean, death, right? You know,
absolutely. I mean, what better way to get us ready for that inevitable Fuking Death red belt run? She is inevitable. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Turner with that little Thanos. You know, because let's be honest, if anyone in the Stardomverse is Thanos, it is Fuking Death. It's time for Io and Kairi watch, Matt. Talk to us what is going on in the world of Io and Kairi.
We go to the return of Saturday night's main event, and I did not watch this live. Rob, did you watch this match with Io and Liv Morgan by chance?
The match where Liv Morgan has pinned Io Shirai clean as a whistle to claim 12th place in the PWI 250. No, I haven't.
Okay. I did not see this live. I was, if you remember, I was being Christmas Uncle Matt as we had our nephews. And yeah, I was spreading the holiday love. So I didn't see this until Monday. So I already had a Sunday when I woke up. I already had a lot of the diehard Io Shirai fans, which I'm one of them. I know you are. They were very upset that Io took a clean pinfall to one Liv Morgan. Now, before I get into that, I do have to say, Saturday's main event, again, growing up in the 80s, Northeastern Pennsylvania, the Northeast, that was my jam. Saturday's main event kept me out of trouble, and it made me get good grades because my dad would always tell me, if you get good grades and you stay out of trouble, you can stay up late to watch wrestling. So Saturday's main event, maybe the reason why I really never got into trouble as a kid. So it was really cool. They had the music. They did the promos. Jesse Ventura came out. I mean, this was great. They showed Tito Santana, Jimmy Hart. Really, really cool stuff. So I'm getting ready to watch this match. I already know the result. This match is like almost a squash match for Io. Io dominates Liv Morgan. So I'm like, us Io fans have nothing to be ashamed. Like the match starts out, they exchange drop kicks. Io gets the advantage, beats up Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan tries to retreat. Ase moonsault, the pressure perfect Io dive, Quesadora double stomp. Liv Morgan hits a couple backcrackers, and lung blowers. But other than that, Io comes back with the palm strikes, the bullet train, springboard drop kick. I mean, just beating up Liv Morgan. She goes to put her away with them. Because I'm watching this match and I was like, she's going for the moonsault already. Like, she's already emptied the arsenal. Like, she hits the dive and the Ase moonsault like 90 seconds in this match. So I was like, and I know it's only an hour and a half show, and we got to give most of the time to Cody and Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, because that's the big program. And I get that. So she's going for the moonsault. Liv puts the feet up. Io feeds. Oblivion, 1, 2, 3. So yes, Io ate a clean loss. It's like 70-75% Io. So I was like, if you're gonna lose clean, I got no problem with that because she dominated the match. She had all the big moves. They were chanting for Io before the bell rang. They were chanting for Io all throughout the short match that this was. And then at the end, Liv Morgan goes to the entrance, and then Rhea Ripley comes out. Again, that's probably going to be a match maybe coming up for the Royal Rumble. I think this Liv Morgan run is probably at its end. We want to get the belt back on their big star, which is Rhea. And again, I really think Io's winning the Rumble. I think that's the way it's going. I had this prediction right last year when I thought they were leaving to Bayley and Io. I think that's the way to go because Io's over like crazy. And again, maybe with the exception of Gunther, she's the best overall worker in this company and maybe even better than him, and he's world class. That takes us to Monday Night Raw, and thank you, Mr. Darren Chatton, for hitting me up with this. As one Kyrie is in the WWE Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament. She's taken out backstage by the Pure Fusion Collective. Obviously, Kyrie cannot wrestle. She will have to be replaced in her semifinal match next week, which, because it is the holidays, that they already taped this because Triple H is giving everybody like 10 days off or a week off for the holidays, which I think is great. So they already did the tapings for Raw next week, and a little birdie told me that Kyrie's replacement is her tag partner in one, Io Shirai. So we'll see if Io does go all the way through to the tournament. As much as I would love to see her win and become the first ever women's Intercontinental champion, I just think that Royal Rumble win is kind of the way to go. But we shall see. We shall see. Again, Saturday's main event. I know we're all upset. Io had a clean loss to the number 12 or 13 or whatever it was in the PWI 250 to Liv Morgan. But if you go and watch it, it's EO dominance. Again, Liv Morgan gets 2 or 3 moves in and then just hits the Oblivion off of Miss Moonsault. EO looked like $1 million and got over like $1 million. So that, my friend, is our EO in Kyrie Watch.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, does bring us to the end of our show. And just like I predicted, it's a near 2-hour episode, which I still don't exactly know how that's happened, but there we are. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And obviously, this is the last Stardom Cast, or at least the last sort of free feed Stardom Cast that we'll be doing before Christmas, I believe. So we hope most of all that you have a lovely, festive, safe New Year, and you spend it with your loved ones, and you all have a lovely, lovely time, because you guys all deserve it. Thank you so much for your support throughout this year. It's been absolutely incredible. So yeah, thank you so much. Don't forget, we will be live on YouTube 29th of December, 8 p.m. not EST, GMT, which is, hang on,
3 o'clock my time.
Thank you. I was trying to count backwards, and I'm far too tired for that nonsense. So yes, it's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please join us on YouTube. It will be live on Twitter. It will be live on Facebook as well. So come check it out. Come talk to us. Come ask some questions. We'd love to see you. But other than that, make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review and a comment. It really does help the podcast out. You can find us, like I say, on Patreon, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast. We can get all these episodes early and ad-free for as little as $1 a month. Check out the website, talkjoshi.com, for all manner of things Stardom and Marigold. You can find us on social media at the Stardom Cast. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at Talk Joshi. You can talk to me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Merry Christmas to everyone. We will speak to you again before the new year. Matt Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Yes, folks, for all of you that like those longer podcasts, 1, we apologize. 2, next week when we come back, which the podcast probably be a little bit later, because I don't think we're recording until Friday next week, and obviously Rob and I will have to work the logistics out of that. Next week's show, we have 4 shows to talk about and preview Dream Queendom. So don't you worry, folks. Don't you worry. And then the one after that, which will be, again, live on Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, will be our Dream Queendom review. And if you have ever hung out with us for those reviews, they tend to go about 3 hours. And there's a very good chance that one Andy Header will be joining us for said review, very much like he did for the finals review of the 5-Star Grand Prix, which was terrific. And we could talk to Andy Header about him wrestling former ECW television champion Super Crazy just a week or 2 ago. So yeah, we'll throw that in there. But yes, folks, we will be doing another live podcast of Dream Queendom coming up 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, the 29th, the same day of Dream Queendom, December the 29th. But yes, folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF, on the Instagram and the Twitter and the Blue Sky as well. If you want to shoot me an email, the email address is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. And folks, again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We greatly appreciate your support. We really do. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Be safe. Enjoy it. Remember, the true meaning of Christmas isn't about presents. It's about just being around friends and family. So enjoy your time. Please be safe, because we want you all back here with us next week. And then obviously we want to see everybody for the live Stardom Cast review of Dream Queendom, because folks, we greatly appreciate your support. Can't do it without you, because like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast, because we're all together. Everybody's different. Everybody's special.